Hello, everybody. And if you're watching this live with me or close to when I'm recording it, happy Halloween. However, if you're watching it later, don't worry. This entire video is designed to help you learn how to connect with your ancestors. I am going to demonstrate a custom card spread that I created to help you connect with your ancestors. I'm also going to talk about top 6 reasons to go ahead and do that. At this time of year, the time I'm recording this today on Halloween, the veil is very thin. Starting around the fall equinox, all the way through really Sagittarius season, the veil is very thin. And so it makes it easier to connect with your spiritual team. If you want to know more about who's on your spiritual team, I have a video linked below too. But basically, we're talking about your guardian angels, your higher self, your ancestors, which is what today's video is about. So I'm going to talk about the top 6 reasons, but I want you to know linked below is my brand new card spread, and it's yours for free. If you want to be able to connect with your ancestors on your own, download this free spread below. You just have to enter your email. Make sure it doesn't go to your spam box. Click on it and you will get it for yours. It'll be yours for life. So grab that if you want to be able to customize this to you. Of course, I will be sharing messages with you when we go into the spread here in a minute. But first, I wanted to talk about why it's important to connect with your ancestors and why, if you're kind of new to it, or you might want to consider making it a tradition to do at this time of year, to just check in. And I'm so excited to share this spread with you as well. If you are here tuning in live, hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you're watching this on the recording later, I read every single comment. So definitely let me know what you're tuning into, where you're tuning in from. I'm getting my notes here as I'm talking this way. But I also, love to hear, like, do you make a tradition out of connecting with your ancestors this year? There's traditions all over the world around this, and of course it's different for everybody. But let's get into the top 6 reasons to connect with your ancestors, and then we will dive into this card spread so that you can learn to do it on your own. All right, so the first reason is pretty obvious: seeking guidance and direction. Ancestors have a unique perspective from the experiences they went through during their generation. And so they're known for their wisdom and the challenges they overcame and important decisions they had to make. They can guide you on this from their perspective, right? They have a different perspective. So it can be a really great connection in consideration when you're working with your spiritual team. If you are new here, welcome. Thank you so much. I want to let you know that when I talk about your spiritual team, which includes your ancestors, we're talking about your guardian angels, passed away loved ones, your higher self. I know I mentioned that earlier, but you'll sometimes hear me say angels, and I'm really kind of talking about your whole spiritual team. But I want you to also start to learn the different energies. So in this particular case, that's why we're focusing on your ancestors. All right. So the second reason to consider working with your ancestors is for protection and support. So a lot of people believe that they have benevolent ancestors who work with them and protect them and bring them strength. And this is something you'll see in a lot of cultural practices and things like this. And if you have a particular affinity for a part of your ancestral line, there's a good chance they're already working with you and protecting you, and you may not even have realized it until now. I know for me, when I started really getting clear on who works with me on a regular basis on my spiritual team, I had quite a few aha moments about how far back in my lineage some of these people were that were working with me and helping me. The number 3 reason is something that is a pretty big topic in the spiritual community, would be ancestral healing and clearing generational trauma. Now, this is kind of a little bit of a more advanced thing. This is something that takes intention. It takes an understanding of what it takes. And, I always talk about saying a prayer of protection before you're connecting. In fact, I'm going to demonstrate to you exactly how I do this. So I haven't even shuffled the cards yet. I want you to see it from beginning to end. So if you want to grab the free card spread below, I can tell Mercury is a little bit in shadow here, about to go retrograde at the time of this recording. But I'm not blaming you, Mercury. Down below, I have several card spreads linked for free, but this particular ancestral one is what I'm going to show you today. So this is a way to connect with them in a safe and healthy way, and know that you're getting a direct connection because you have the prayer protection, which I also have linked below if you want it totally for free. All right, so the let's see, that was 3, right? 1, 2, 3, yeah. So the fourth reason to consider connecting with your ancestors is to access ancestral gifts and wisdom. It's kind of early here in the morning for me to go live, and my mouth is not as warmed up as usual. I haven't been chit-chatting yet. Hey, Barbara. Hey, Kay. Hello there. Hello, Amy. Good to see you. So great to see you. So the ancestral gifts and the wisdom that we can get is amazing and endless, and it can really help you identify your gifts. So that's one of the big things I do with my work is I activate light workers. I help others identify their natural born intuitive abilities. And that is such a big part of what I do to help you learn, okay, how do I use my gifts? And so by connecting with your ancestors, you might get a little bit more insight into what's a natural way for you to use your intuitive abilities or even your psychic abilities. And you might get more confidence from it because it's that lineage of knowing this was handed down to me. And we are going to talk about that in the card spread. So I'm super excited. All right. The number 5 reason to connect with your spiritual team, your ancestors, is to have a deeper sense of belonging and identity, which kind of goes along with the one I just said. If you feel like you're the only light worker in your world, another way to put this is, are you the black sheep in the family because of your spiritual practices? Or are you afraid to share with others that you do have psychic abilities? Maybe you have premonition dreams. Maybe you have just this amazing intuition and you don't even really know how to share it with others. When you connect with your ancestors, you feel that sense of belonging. And let me tell you, psychic abilities, premonition, those kinds of things, sometimes you're born with a stronger ability in one area or the other because of that lineage. So it'll help you feel less like like you're all alone in the spiritual closet, like I say, when you do this. Okay, so that's the other thing to keep in mind is maybe you do know you have these abilities, but you're kind of afraid to use them or talk about them. Well, this gives you that belonging there to kind of encourage you. And that's a big part of what I do in my community is I am always encouraging you to find community, find others like you who want to advance their intuitive abilities, who want to connect with their spiritual team, who want to live an intuitive lifestyle, meaning you're checking in with your intuition for everything you're doing, and it's becoming a part of your flow to always check in with your spiritual team. So that's the number 5 reason. And finally, the number 6 reason is it can really help you with like meditation and getting into that space where you connect with your spiritual team on a higher level. There's like a sense of safety with it, right? Because you are saying, hey, these are my ancestors. This is where I come from. Building on that sense of belonging, building on that sense of these gifts were passed down to me for a reason. And it might actually encourage you to increase your meditation practice or begin making it a habit to connect with your spiritual team like we're going to do here with these cards. So I want to encourage you to think about, how often are you giving yourself credit for your natural born intuitive abilities? And if you're not really stepping into your power, then this is a great way to start warming up to it and feeling safe doing it. And again, I always say, you don't have to hang a shingle out there and say, hey, I'm a light worker. I practice this kind of thing. I'm a psychic. I'm an astrologer, whatever. You don't have to say it out loud. But what is important is that you're acknowledging it on the inside and these gifts are amazing. They're here for a lifetime to help you. Why not use them, right? So again, if you want support with that, you're in the right place. So let's jump into this card spread. It is linked below so that you can download it and have it with you to do on your own. This will be more like broad messages. You'll have to take what resonates and leave behind, because of course I'm doing this for a lot of you, but you can customize it with this spread linked below. And also I did create a printable version. So there's like a pretty version, and then page 2 is a printable, because I know some of you like to print it out and have it right in front of you. So check that out if you want to. And we're going to hop over to my overhead camera so I can show you exactly what I do. Hello, everybody in the chat here. It's so great to see you. Happy Halloween if you're watching this now, or like I said, close. But again, if you're watching this a year from now, 5 years from now, it's about the content. It doesn't matter when you watch, and you don't have to wait for Halloween to do it. Good morning. Good morning. Casglow, good to see you. Hello, Chelsea. Good to see you there. Valerie. Hello, hello. Oh, you are having a lot of dreams of horses, Kay? Oh my goodness. I love it when I have dreams of horses. My dreams have been all over the map when it comes to kittens. I've been having tons of dreams about kittens. And I went through a phase like that about 6 months ago where it was like a lot of kitten dreams. But we just have two cats that are each 6 years old. So they're not necessarily kittens anymore. All right. You saw me just knock my deck there. That's how I clear my deck. There's so many ways to clear your deck. That's an entirely different course. And then I'm going to shuffle these cards really well. And I'm going to say my prayer protection, which I have an eloquent version linked below that you can put on your phone to help you remember it and see it. And I like it when I look at my phone at 4:44 and my prayer protection pops up on my screen. But basically I say, dear God, please surround me with angels and the highest vibrational beings, and allow me to connect only with the highest vibrational beings. Please protect these messages for those who receive them, everybody listening to them now and later, including myself. Thank you. And so it is. Amen. So that was kind of my, quick version. Like I said, I do have it written out in a more eloquent fashion below if you want to check that out. All right. So with this spread, it is very unique in the sense that it's larger than a lot of my other free spreads, because this is a big connection we're doing here. And first, you're going to have to decide, do you want to connect with your maternal side, your mom's side of ancestors, or your paternal side, your father's side? Now, I know sometimes we have similar ancestry with our parents if they married within their culture. I guess I should still be on camera to explain this part. Choosing which side you connect with first is going to be important. But for me, example, my mom's side of the family is all Italian, whereas my father's side of the family is English, and UK, that area, European. So it is a little different in the sense, just listening to the stories and where they came from. My dad's side was like lowlanders in Scotland, and then northern England on my dad's side, right? So it's a different culture than southern Italy and the parts of Italy where my mom's side of the family is. And of course, the stories are different and the traditions are different. So that's why I would encourage you can do it. You're going to do it twice. You can do it for both sides. Now, for this particular reading, I would invite you to just let it be whoever comes to mind. Like, this feels like my father's side, this feels like my mother's side. But this can also be a beneficial thing to do if you maybe don't know a lot about that side of your family, like people who are adopted, or maybe they didn't really know a particular birth parent, but they had like a step parent, and you could even get guidance through that way as well, your step parents as well. So that's why I'm saying at the beginning, I want you to, when you sit down, when you do this spread for yourself, start with, what side of the family you want to do. It's going to help you direct the energy there. Of course, you're going to get whatever messages you're meant to. I'm going to encourage you to grab that journal and make sure you got that close by while you are doing this card spread, and write down the date and which side you're connecting with first, okay? And I would encourage you to do that now, even as we jump into this. All right, so here we are with my deck that I just shuffled. I did the prayer protection. I'm feeling called to shuffle it again. Little tip for you guys, if you're new to connecting with your spiritual team through angel cards, not only do I clear the deck and say a prayer of protection, I have a certain amount of shuffles I will do, and I will let my guides know, like my team know, if I need to keep going, let me know. And I will feel like a do it again, or I'll feel like a stop. In that particular time, I was feeling do it again, and I'm feeling it one more time here. So how's everybody doing? I mean, this energy has been very unique lately. So between this and the very thin veil we have going on, interesting messages could pop in. And like we're talking about in the chat here, definitely paying attention to those dreams. All right, so here's the card spread we're going to do. If you want to, in your mind, you can think about which side of the family you think these messages might be for, but definitely do that before you do it yourself. Now, this is a 13 card spread, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do it. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And of course, this is all in the free PDF download link below, so you don't have to remember this. And I'm going to tell you what it's worth. And you're going to go back up to the top. 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'll tell you what these mean in a minute. Then we're going back up to the top again. 10, 11, 12. And then number 13 goes right in the middle. Okay? So I know I'm crowding this on the screen because I've got my candle and my journal ready to go, which I hope you will have your journal ready to go when you do this. But let's go over these cards here. So you will see when you get the PDF, they'll be numbered and what they mean. But basically, this represents several generations of lessons that your ancestors learned and can share with you through this reading. And this represents, this whole side, we're going to go one by one, represents gifts that you have received from your team. Then when we get up here, there are messages of love. So this would just be messages of letting you know that they're with you. This could be reminders. If you did have the opportunity to meet a great grandparent, you may even see something come through. Like I remember my great grandmother saying that, And then finally, this card in the middle, which we will do it all, is we will see that there are some requests from our ancestors on things we can do in this lifetime, and then there is an action to take. So this card number 13 is really the final card, and I'm going to tell you, there's a reason that my team wanted me to do 13 cards. 1 plus 3 nets to a 4 in numerology. And that is a door. 4 is the door. It is a portal, right? And we are dealing with a thin veil, and we are opening this portal in a very safe, protected way where we're only connecting with our highest vibrational beings, but we are getting this message on actions to take, right? And so this can be really beneficial. And like I said, feel free to do it for each side of the family and include step parents, because there's that's another thing I need to re-record my soulmate video at some point. But even step parents can be soulmates because there is a plan for them to come into your life. So that would mean you would have a connection to their side as well. All right, let's hop into this spread here. Let me check my, I was looking at my spread. I want to make sure everything's sounding, okay, good. For a second, my mic looked like it was having an issue there. All right, so let's get started. So the card number 1 is your spiritual lesson from your great ancestors, okay? So for me, if I'm doing this for my father's side, this would be my grandfather's grandfather, which I happen to know a little bit about. I did not meet him, but, it was definitely, when I did this spread for myself, very eye-opening. So this is the great ancestors' spiritual lessons that they learned. First, we have the 4 of water here. the Four of Water. So you could identify this as, maybe they had to learn how to overcome boredom or overcome things that were mundane. They had to rise above the situation. And their lesson was to really use their intuitive abilities and bring down, see this cup right here, bring down the new ideas into the world. So most likely this generation was bringing us ideas that we have the benefit of right now, but they had to really work through something. They had to go through something to overcome it and realize, you know what? It's all up to me to bring this into my reality, right? So that would be card number 1. I'm trying to make sure I can see my screen okay. Number 2 would be spiritual lesson from great ancestors. So we're going to keep going. So this would be like my grandfather's father, right? And we have the 6 of Water card here, memories from childhood, nostalgia. So it may be a situation where this generation had to learn to see the gifts in challenges from the past, but also let the past go. Let things be water under the bridge. They may have really had to learn about not holding on to grudges and not trying to keep things the way they were. Maybe they saw their parents go through this innovative process, and they're realizing, yeah, we have to keep moving forward. We have to keep advancing. All right. So that would be that card right there, card number 5. We've got a question here in the chat. Let me check in with Chelsea. Hey, Chelsea. Can we tap in more than once to connect to the other side? Absolutely. Thank you for asking, Chelsea. That's why I want you to just get the free PDF and download, because I encourage you to do that. I think it'll make it easier if you know, okay, I want to connect to my father's side, and then I'm going to go connect to my mother's side, and so on. Okay, great question. Thank you, Chelsea. Okay, so card number 3 represents your grandparents, which a lot of us had the opportunity to meet our grandparents. It's not all of us, right? I only met one of mine of the 4. The other 3 were gone before I had, 2 were gone before I was born. 1 died shortly after. So I only met 1. But I did hear a lot of stories. And so maybe one of the big things that that generation, the generation of your grandparents, had to overcome was finding balance, learning self-control, learning moderation, and I know, like, if I was to apply that to me, you think about that era where they were the parents of the baby boomers, my mom's parents and my dad's parents. They were that World War II generation, and they had to learn. A lot of them grew up during the Depression, right? And they had to learn self-control to get through that. And then when they had the abundance that we saw come in with the economy after World War II, they had to learn moderation. But we didn't see a lot of that, did we? Because that's the whole thing, is that's when consumerism really took off during that baby boomer generation when my parents were born. So that would be a way you could apply it. Now, I want you to definitely personalize this to you. And then let's see, we're on card 4. This would be your spiritual lessons from your parents' generation. Which, I've talked to some people that, never met their parents. This would be a way to tap into the energy of your biological parent, even if you never knew them or you didn't know much of them. We have this 7 of Water, choices, over analyzing, procrastination, and that could, again, be applied to people having too many choices, being spoiled for choices, and needing to learn to make a decision and move forward and not get stuck in, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go. So that procrastination card may have been something that they had to learn to overcome, and you could incorporate into your world and your spiritual practice as well. Okay, it's gonna all come together when we get into the gifts and the actions to take. All right, so this card right here on the bottom, card number 5, is you. Of course, you are in this spread. So this is really around healing that you need in your life. And we all come here with things to learn, things to overcome, and we have to do our own healing. And so by looking at the things that your family has learned maybe there's something there that you could really focus on healing. Like, did you have a family history of poverty? Did you have a family history of people being harmed by, by formal religion? Maybe you had, a lot of philanderers in the family. There's all kinds of stories we've heard. And there could be an opportunity for you to break that lineage there and heal it once and for all. And look at that. This represents you watching this right now, Queen of Air, brilliant, experienced, and humorous. You guys we cannot make this stuff up. I literally was talking about you using their lessons to heal it and even finding the humor in the situation. It's not funny to talk about philanderers, but I did think about it. It's like, maybe there's a way for you to take a different look at your family's lineage and bring some healing into it and understand that, they were human. They were going through their trials and tribulations too. And now you get to have this experience in a different way because of what they've overcome. And my grandmother is asking me to bring in this little anecdote here. Have you heard this phrase before? Because my grandmother would always say it. Speaking of grandparents, she would say, Devin, sometimes people learn from watching others. Some people learn from doing it themselves. And some people never learn. And I remember when she told me that, we were riding in the back of my mom's car somewhere. And I said, well, Grandma, I want to be the person who learns from others so I don't have to go through the pain. Well, it turns out there's some things you just got to learn for yourself, right? But you can learn from others if you take the time. And I feel like that's what this spread is showing us to do. So let's go back to the overhead camera here. And I want you to take a look again at how these are the lessons from whichever side of the family you're connecting with. And at the time you're listening to this message, you probably already know who it is for this particular spread. But look at these lessons and ask yourself, what can I do in this lifetime with me for myself now to overcome any leftover residual things that I could teach others, I could heal, and I could pass down to future generations, right? And even if you don't have children, this could be people in your community that you work with, a group or organization you volunteer where you're passing on this wisdom. So this is a beautiful card here for this. And by the way, thank you guys so much for liking and sharing this video. It really helps my channel grow. I hope you'll hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And let's go into the next cards. Now, remember when we were laying these out, we go back up here for card number 6 because we're starting with the great generation again. But card number 6 right here is a spiritual gift from your great ancestors. Look at that. We have the 7 of Earth, and it says investment, assessment, and patience. Okay, so this is a gift that you can download that you already have within your energy, within your ancestral line, and you can take advantage of this. All right, and we're gonna speed this up a little bit because I want to get to the part where you have actions to take, and I know everybody out there probably has a busy day ahead. So this is, again, we're going to move down to the next generation. This is going to be your great ancestor's spiritual gift. And we have strength, courage, compassion, perseverance. Yes, they also were likely a generation that went through the Depression, and they did have to learn to endure, to be strong. And you have this inner strength within you, this lion within you. So pull down the strength from your ancestors into the things you're doing. Moving on to card number, we're on 8 now, spiritual gifts from the grandparent side. The Emperor, okay, organization, leadership, structure. Boy, did they have to endure that with the World War II and all that. In my generation, I'm not speaking for you and which generation this was for you, but definitely I know from my grandparents' side, all of them were somehow involved with World War II. So they had to learn to be organized, they had to be disciplined about it, and they had to deal with rations and not having a normal day-to-day life, right? All right. And then finally, we have the gift from your parents, which I find this one can be pretty eye-opening, especially if you don't feel like you can talk to your family about your spiritual gifts. Maybe you have a parent that's like, oh, that's so woo-woo, like I don't do any of that, or you were raised in like a religion that's against it. You might be surprised. There's still gifts there. Okay. There's still gifts there. So we have the Two of Fire, planning, partnering, progress. And this is also a card of creativity. So even if you don't feel like you've seen your parents demonstrate this, there was this magical power with creativity. And there is a gift for you to be able to manifest through your creativity. Okay. All right. So that's going to be the two sides of the ancestors. Now let's get into a little bit more message wise. Card number 10 right here is going to represent messages of love from the great, great ancestors. We have the Five of Air. I don't read literally, I read intuitively. It says mistakes, melodrama, and reassessment. And this is this is your ancestors saying, listen, this all seems a lot worse than it really is. From their perspective, it's a blip on the radar in the big scheme of things. The things that are stressing you out right now, your ancestors are letting you know it's all going to be okay. In fact, it already is okay. And what a beautiful lesson of love to know your ancestors are having an amazing time in their world, out of their physical body, getting to experience things in whatever it is that they're doing. And they're letting you know the things that we're seeing here in our reality, melodrama. It may feel stressful, but in the end, it's really just, it's not as dire as it seems. Okay. So that is quite a lesson of love and assurance that everything's okay. Now moving on to card number 11, messages of the love from the great ancestors. So we decided to, my team, when they were telling me how to do the spread, my spiritual team, they said we wanted to go back just those two because we have to get into the requests from our ancestors and the action. So we also have another 5 card here, and we have 5 of Fire, conflicts, annoyances, and competition. So the message of love coming through from a 5 of Fire here from this great ancestor generation is, remember that you will rise above this if you focus on being willing to overcome the competition, and to remember that, you do have competition for things you want in life because you wouldn't value it if you didn't have to work for it. Like that whole saying about people don't value things that they don't have to put a lot of effort into. If it comes really easy to them, they don't really value it. So the message of love from the great ancestor generation for you is be willing to work hard for the things you want, because you will appreciate it so much more. All right, moving on to card number 12, requests from your ancestor. This is a little bit of an ask, you guys. What are your ancestors asking of you? Another 5, you guys. 5, 5, 5. Whoa. This says disappointment, regret, forgiveness. You guys, I got to change cameras for this. I'm sorry. This is 555 for your first ancestral connection with this spread. Check out my angel number playlist, link below too, if you want to know more about 555. Your request from your ancestors is to forgive the past. Forgiveness. Oh, I'm getting such huge angel bumps. The way that you were wronged, your parents were wronged, your grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, we are looking for forgiveness. This is the request. This is how you're going to bring in the healing that you need and your ancestral lineage may need. Forgiveness. I like this card because it talks about spilled milk. No use crying over spilled milk. You can't unspill the milk, and you're not going to drink it off the floor, or at least most people aren't. Yuck. So we've got to stop focusing on this, clean it up, and move on, right? And this is so exciting that we got 3 5s in this area. So let's get to our final card here where we're talking about what, getting back to the overhead camera here, what is the action to take? This card number 13, netting to a 4. 4 is the door. What action are your ancestors asking you to take? 10 of air. Can you believe this? Endings, recovery, freedom. Freedom. You guys. 555. Massive changes. Request from the ancestors. Forgiveness. 10 of air. It's time to be done with it. What are these things that we're holding on to? These ancestral grudges, right? You hear about these things with families over the years, like, Romeo and Juliet, the Montagues and the Capulets, their big, long grudges that they had. We want to let go of these things, right? That is your action to take. That is what you can do right now at the time you're hearing these messages to bring in this Queen of Air healing energy, is forgiving the past, forgiving ancestors, forgiving things that happened to your ancestral lineage because of others, right? And it's easier said than done. It doesn't mean we forget. We can forgive but not forget. But there is this huge request for us to do that. And I'm going to tell you too, you're here because you are a light worker. I'm activating you right now. You don't have to call yourself that. You don't have to put it into practice by necessarily using a modality, but you are here for a very specific mission. And a lot of us, our mission is for ancestral healing. And you came in with this amazing Queen of Air energy and your guidance, switching back to this camera, 555, all these gifts you have, all these lessons, the wisdom that your ancestors are bringing you. It's your turn now. Okay, you've been handed the baton and this is so exciting. So you guys, I hope this was helpful. I want you to download the free spread below, enter your email. You'll get it immediately. It's yours forever and you can do it as many times as you want. You don't have to wait for the veil to be thin, but I did want to demonstrate it to you. If for some reason you don't immediately get it, please go check, your marketing boxes. It could be that it just got filtered there if you're brand new and your email doesn't know my email. But I want to hear from you what lessons you're getting. And a quick little fun announcement too is I have launched a brand new community on my website at devindoer.com. I'm bringing back Coffee with Devin. In fact, today is a 6-year anniversary of my very first Coffee with Devin. What's Coffee with Devin? Well, you can check out at the link below. It's a place for you to come together with other like-minded people, share your experiences, ask questions about connecting with your spiritual team, and support each other because now you're a light worker. You guys, thank you so much for being here. If you are watching this now, happy Halloween. If you're not, many, many wishes to you with connecting with your ancestors, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.